What's going on, y'all? Artisan Kane here with another team preview. This time for week 2, where we play Team Eevee, coached by Eddie Soros. If you haven't seen last week's game versus David from the Geeky Parents, I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check that out. Didn't go the way we would have wanted. Had a couple late game misplays that kind of cost us in the end. But it's all good. We got another game this week. Trying to bounce back. Divisional opponent. So this match kind of means a little bit more as far as seeding and playoff goes. Even though we're only at week 2, this could matter towards the end of the season. So quickly looking at Eddie's team first, we've got Darmanitan, Orbeetle, Flapple, Ice Cube, Frostmoth, and Rapidash. So in this league, when you draft a Pokemon, you're able to access any and all forms of that Pokemon. So if, for example, if you have Darmanitan or Rapidash, you can use their Galarian forms or their regular forms. So that makes things a little bit more complicated when we are trying to prepare for this week. Galarian Darmanitan is a problem if you are familiar with OU competitive singles as far as the Smogon and Pokemon Showdown goes. That mon was quick banned. I had a few teams with it. It was really, really good. And even regular Unovan Darmanitan is pretty powerful. And Rapidash has the regular fire form that we've known since the original 151. And then also the Galarian form, which isn't too common, but being Psychic Fairy can do some interesting things. So we have to prepare for all of that. So a couple big things right off the bat with his team is he's got access to a couple of Gmax bonds, Orbeetle, Gmax Gravitas, which sets up Gravity, and Gmax Flapple, which has, I think it's called Tartness, that lowers evasion, which is not a big deal, but a Gmax Orbeetle becomes extremely bulky, and when it gets off gravity, it basically increases the accuracy for a lot of low accuracy moves, so that could be a problem. Like I mentioned with Galarian Darmanitan, it's probably the biggest threat on his team. Guerrilla Tactics ability is basically like an automatic choice band. So if you put a choice band on top of it, you're putting it up another stage. Typically, I've seen it with Choice Scarf. That's what I ran on it a lot. So you basically have Choice Scarf and Choice Band on that one mon. So that's why speed control is going to be really, really important in this game. The Unovan Darmanitan, or the regular one, also has a Sheer Force ability, which is a 1.3 times multiplier. So that's basically the equivalent of holding a life orb. So, either way, both those bonds, their abilities give them a lot of extra power. I don't think we're going to see the fire one because the Galarian form is so much better. But we do have to be ready for it. Base 95 speed on Darmanitan does outspeed most of the team. So that's why webs are going to be very, very important for speed control. Probably just going to go Ribombee right off the bat to make sure that those webs get up. Going forward, we're going to talk about my team. So Ribombee, like I said, sticky web lead, get that up. Basically first move. Regardless of what comes out, I think that's going to be our best bet. I've got the focus set on there, so I'm going to be taking a hit regardless. Rabombe's got a high speed tier, so probably be putting the webs out first, anyways. He has no spinner. Only potential defogger is Frostmoth. I haven't seen Frostmoth run defog before, but I know it can. So there is the potential for that. I really doubt it, to be honest, because there's a lot more that Frostmoth can do, instead of just trying to get rid of hazards. But like I said, with speed control being so important in this game, it's definitely a possibility. And Frostmoth also usually carries heavy duty boots, so it's not taking any of the entry hazards like webs. One note here before we continue with my team is that his Frostmoth actually last week 5-0 swept the Cascadia team that he was battling. So we definitely have to be ready for it. My guess is that it was probably like some sort of Quiver Dance set. Quiver Dance increasing your special attack, special defense, and speed. It does have a high speed tier at 125, or I'm sorry, base special attack, 125 base special attack. So after that boost, it can get really, really high. I think it's like a 265 total at level 50. So we have to be ready for that. Also, the ability Ice Scales reduces the amount taken by special attacks. So we probably have to hit it with a physical attacker like Scrafty or Dracovish. Speaking of Dracovish, we'll talk about Dracovish a little bit. Basically, going to be bringing the same set that I brought last week. Standard Choice Scarf. Fish's Rend is going to be our, main attack. It is for Dracovish to make sure we get that speed extra boost. We want to make sure that we have the webs up by Claude. 3 Mons outspeed Dracovish, which is why it's important to get those webs. And then we can OHKO Darmanitan if we have the webs up with Fish's Rend. So that's the biggest threat, like I said. And then, we can go through the rest of the team, and he basically either OHKOs or 2-8 KOs just about everything. Next up here, we got Leone Toxtricity, running a choice spec set again. Only difference between this week and last week is that I'm running Volt Switch instead of Hex. I really don't need Ghost coverage here, especially if it's not a stab. But Volt Switch gives us that extra momentum. So Volt Switch hits, and then I'm able to switch out, which can be really important with catching Eddie off guard as far as, what he's expecting. Lysithea Gengar. This week I'm running a sub nasty plot set, and then just the 2 stab moves of Shadow Ball and Sludge Wave. Black Sludge for recovery after I get that substitute off. He doesn't really have many resists to Ghost or Poison. I don't think he has any at all. So if we're able to get a nasty plot off, or even better, if we're behind a sub, we have the potential to sweep with Gengar. A +2 nasty plotted Gengar, assuming that there's webs up and we have speed control at that point, he can just roll through the team with Shadow Balls and Sludge Wave if there's the Fairy-mon of Rapidash. Moving forward, Avalugg, Raphael, the Avalugg. This week I'm running Rocky Helmet. That's for to have a little bit more chip damage on the physical attackers of Rapidash and Darmanitan, even Ice Cube, really. And also Flapple, but I don't really see Flapple coming in on Avalugg. We are not running Avalanche this week, and the reason is we're going to run Rock Slide instead. Rock Slide hits most of his team really hard, especially if he's bringing the fire versions. If he brings the fire Darmanitan, or if he brings the fire Rapidash, Rock Slide's going to hit pretty hard. And then recover to get back health from the damage that he's going to be taking from those physical attackers. Definitely don't want the same thing happening last week where we have a special attacker in on Avalug, and Avalug is not made for that. Avalug is made for the physical defense, which is why this week I have Scrafty, Marianne or Scrafty, is going to be a lot bulkier, a lot very specially defensive bulky. The reason is I need someone who can take a little bit more. Last week we were running Adamant, and I think our EVs were mainly in attack and speed. This week we're running it in HP and special defense. That way we can be a lot more of a wall. If you look at the moves that I have bulk up and I have amnesia. Now, the reason I have both is that if I'm able to get the amnesia up, I cover the special attackers of like Orbeetle, Frostmoth. Once I get the bulk up, I get that extra defense and attack boost to cover the rest of his team. So if I get one of them up, let's say I get amnesia up, and then I can force a switch because he can't really hit me, then the next turn I automatically use a bulk up, assuming that switch is happening. That way I can wall basically most of his team. Drain Punch is going to give us some good recovery. I'm also running leftovers on Marianne for more recovery. I have Shed Shell this week instead of Moxie, and that's mainly in case there's any sort of like a burn that happens from Darmanitan or Rapidash, or if there's like a Stun Spore from Frostmoth, which I don't really anticipate, but it's kind of just, it's a little bit better of an ability than like Intimidate would be, I think, for Scrafty, just for this week, just to make sure we can heal ourselves with that. So that's basically what we got this week, y'all. Please check out last week's video to see how I played against David. Obviously, you'll be able to see David's perspective. And then this week, I'm going to try to record. I don't know if how successful that's going to be. And I don't think Eddie has recording capabilities either. So we're going to have to kind of play it by ear. But we will be going forward here, week 2 divisional matchup. So I'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys.